Welcome back. You're watching NewsX. My name is Vineet. The first official statement from the CCS meeting has been delivered. What happened on the 10th of November has been described as a heinous terror attack, and the cabinet has unequivocally condemned the dastardly and cowardly act that has led to the loss of 12 innocent lives. During a press briefing held by Union Minister Ashwini Vaishnaw, he has echoed India's clear and cogent approach that India has a zero tolerance policy towards terrorism in all its forms and manifestations. The cabinet has also vowed to take strict action against the perpetrators, collaborators and their sponsors. As the length and breadth of India undergoes a series of searches, interrogations, arrested, what may be the next steps to support India's anti-terror policy is what we discuss in the next half an hour. Joining us on the platform is Major General Dhruv Katoch, Senior Defence Expert and Director of India Foundation, Mr. Sumit Peer, political commentator, with us on the broadcast as well, Mr. Sanjay Sahai, former IPS, with us on the program as well, and last but not the least, Professor Madhav Nalapad, Editorial Director of the Sunday Guardian, also joins us on the program to talk more about this. Professor Nalapad, I'll begin with you. The one thing that has stood out about this entire crime or terror attack has been the fact that the word white collar terrorism has been come to use more often that we are acquainted to. Is that a new MO? Is that a new playbook that a lot of these terrorist organizations are looking to induct and hire and use against its enemies? Of course, on top of it all is India. What do you make of the way this has come about and caught even the intelligence agencies a bit off guard?
I'd like to say, Vineet, that 999 may catch your attention and you can stop it, but the one gets through, and possibly because these are all women involved, and generally the perception is that women are not very active in terror modules. Unfortunately, that is not the case in this particular situation, and there are various other leads, shall we say, that point to particular situations. And as far as this educational institution is concerned, I think it needs very careful scrutiny, because it's quite obvious that it is becoming a breeding ground for extremism. And I think it's worthwhile to understand exactly what the teachers' views are, because the teachers will impart those views to their students, if not in the classroom, then off the classroom. So I think we need, frankly, that a lot of action has been taken in the last 24 hours. The Minister of State for Railways was the first to unequivocally not only say it's a terror attack, but to basically blame Pakistan for it. And now the cabinet has passed a resolution condemning this terror attack. There's no doubt that it was a terror attack. And as for the agencies being caught napping, well, I'd like to say that, I think it is very important to understand that cyber interception is not done on a mass basis. Mass basis means you may have a few millions, but not a few tens or hundreds of millions. But the reality situation is that the odd perpetrator finds a way of getting through. And here, frankly, what was there was the immense symbolism of the place, Red Fort, a national symbol, and more importantly, right in the national capital. So I have no doubt at all, as I'm sure none of my other colleagues on this panel have, that very strong action is going to be initiated, because the government has been very, very clear in its words condemning this heinous terror attack. And if I may say so, during Operation Sindoor, during the pause, the Prime Minister made it very, very clear that the next time there's a terror attack, well, there will be very severe consequences for the perpetrators. Now, given the fact that so many people from Kashmir are involved, and that Kashmir is unfortunately still, to some extent, dotted. In the past it was honeycomb, but now it is dotted with with those who have been indoctrinated from from Pakistan. That's one telltale sign that clearly there is I mean, the Pakistan hand is there. There's no doubt about it. And very importantly, Jaish-e-Mohammed, the one of the family members, was involved in this, and no surprise. And where does that family take refuge? Not in the caves of Afghanistan, but in the buildings of Pakistan. And that's a very shameful reality. But of course, the world chooses to ignore that. Now, of course, the point is that Pakistan is going to, understand that its game is up, and they're going to threaten nuclear blackmail. I don't believe that any person, any rational person, or even semi-rational person will use nuclear weapons when they're in such close proximity to each other. So I think this is an empty threat. But the reality of the situation is, quite frankly, beneath that a very hard, strong lesson needs to be taught to the perpetrators of this terror attack. And I'm sure the forensics team is coming up with enough evidence. Although it was it is not a high-grade explosive like RDX, but the fact of the matter is that it was an explosive, and supposing it had gone off in a crowded area, a few miles away, for example, there's a very crowded market in Delhi, as you know. Well, there would have been mass casualties. We have, as it is, we have got, I think, roughly a dozen casualties, of which, were seriously injured or passed away. But I think there'll probably be more. But having said that, I'd like to say that there's no doubt in my mind that the Home Minister and his colleagues are going to, they do their best to get to the perpetrators of this. And as far as the Prime Minister is concerned, he will keep his word. And I can tell you the next terror attack will be met by the next phase of Operation Sindoor. And this time we will go for a jugular. We will not stop until we have gone and reached the jugular, because quite frankly, this menace has got to be eradicated once and for all. There are cells all over the country, dotting the country. And unless this hard lesson is basically taught, then all over the country, this kind of terrible attack can take place. But I think we need, it's an hour of decision, and I'm very certain that Prime Minister Modi will take a correct and strong decision in the matter. Thank you, Vineet.
All right, fair enough, sir. Valid points there. Sumit Peer, what do you think of what happened the day before yesterday in Delhi? The number one worry that comes to my mind is that there is perhaps a new shape and form of terrorism that is brewing, and agencies are just coming to grips with it. And what we saw day before yesterday was perhaps a manifestation of something that can be orchestrated without the Akas that are sitting in Pakistan. How does this worry you at a level, if it worries you at all, Sumit?
Vinny, thank you very much for having me on your show and conducting this debate. A very interesting and a good question. First of all, we have to be very careful. What happened is pure play Islamic terror, is white collar jihad, is chemical jihad. There are three terms we have to start with. It's 101% Islamic terror, because all these doctors are Muslim and most of them are from Kashmir, the same area, South Kashmir, Pulwama, Anantnag, same thing. This is a white collar jihad because now the jihadi is not an unpad, he's not indoctrinated by a Molvi, he's neither a son of a headmaster, he's neither a MSc mathematics, he is a full-fledged doctor, where in our taxpayers many a few crores must have gone to make him a doctor. He was supposed to save lives, but he's carrying a AK-47, he's busy making ricin, and he's busy making getting ammonium nitrate 3,000 kilos to blow up a whole city. That is what he's doing. Now, the third point here is that, we are forgetting with the Delhi blast is the ricin which was being made in Gujarat, and there was an ISIS Khorasan module which was involved in it. There are three organizations which have come in: ISIS Khorasan, link Pakistan; Lashkar-e-Taiba, link Pakistan; and Jaish-e-Mohammed, link Pakistan. And there's one beautiful lady called Dr. Shaheen. I have all the regards for her, being sarcastic here. She's a doctor carrying AK-47 in her car, chota sa banduk, and she is the head of this Lashkar's women wing, and she's directly talking to Masood Azhar's sister, who heads the organization globally. And a couple of days back, Masood Azhar was calling, let's do the jihad. Let's all women do the jihad. And thanks to our security forces, which I salute on national TV, if you were not active, we would have 10 times what we saw in Mumbai. They were trying to do a Beirut and a Mumbai put together. The things were packed in suitcases. Thanks to J&K police, thanks to everybody involved, Haryana, Gujarat, everybody of them, military intelligence, everybody did a fantastic job. The quantum of damage which we are trying to do, in Hindi mein kahawat hai na, saste mein bach gaye, free mein nikal gaye. That is the kind of a thing what they had and what they were planning to do. Now these jihadis incidentally end up all in Al-Falah. Now this Al-Falah is, in my opinion, is a new epicenter of jihad and terror, because his car, Umar's car, was there for 10 days. There's a Molvi who comes there. There are classes which are conducted very separate, boys and girls, and separate Hindu boys, Hindu girls and Muslim girls. I believe there's no Sharia here. Now all these doctors by default are associated with this nefarious institute. And there's one Dr. Nisarul Haq. He has been terminated by the J&K government for his links with the terrorists, official. And that doctor is again here. Now the question which is to be seen here, now there people are talking that the explosive which is used is a kind of a hybrid military grade explosive. So was this university, so-called university, allegedly, was at a lab for brewing this kind of explosive? Were some experiments being done here? Then conveniently there is a village there, and there is a complete ecosystem there. There's a Molvi who rents you a house. In that house you store ammonium nitrate. And there's a complete ecosystem which is working around this university. And incidentally, 250 Muslims from Kashmir study in this university. The question is here, how is the recruitment done? How are their faculties chosen? Which is the agency which recruits for them? Who are the trustees? Who are the owners? And why this university should not be bulldozed? If you come and say that I have nothing to do with that, then tomorrow anybody will come and say I have nothing to do with that. All the connections of terror are going to this epicenter. Was it an epicenter of jihad? Was it an epicenter of bomb making and giving these people that disguised identity where they could kill more of us? Well, their plans was to blow up as many Hindus they could do on a Deepavali. They could not. They were targeting now 26 January. And what Umar did was ki last desperate attempt, ki chalo kuch karke marunga. That is what he did. The problem here is that if we still close our eyes, the problem is here. And the epicenter is Pakistan. I have been telling very clearly, we have to go and target the military leadership of Pakistan. Islamabad or Rawalpindi se mayyat utni chahiye. You have to get that Mullah Munir, is the biggest terrorist of the world. You have to get that GHQ Rawalpindi. If you kill these disposable jihadis, they are like insects, they breed again. And if you bring down Markaz, Subhanallah and all, they're brick and mortar. It's not, Operation Sindoor was not fantastic, it was fantabulous. But the epicenter of trouble is GHQ Rawalpindi. The epicenter of jihad is this Islamic terror in the world is Mullah Munir. He is the most rabid jihadi. He's an Osama bin Laden in uniform and his squadron. Unless until we go and bring them down, break this Pakistan into 4 parts, this jihad is not happening. Now, if they were illiterate jihadis, they could have not got 3,000 kilograms of ammonium nitrate. Because they padhe likhe jihadi the, doctor the, they could write English, they had credit cards, there's everything. And where's the money coming from? And what did these people went to, why did they go to Turkey? This Umar and the other chap has gone to Turkey. What was he doing in Turkey? What is the Turkey link? Is there Middle Eastern money which has come in? Is there a connection which has come in? And unfortunately, we channelized all the Middle Eastern money into Kashmir. And some people told me, 10 jihad. So मैं से now $90 iman ke, $10 jihad ke. Is it something like a formula which has happened there? We don't know. Where did the money, crores of rupees come from doing this? And imagine if they were successful, what kind of a mayhem they could have caused. It is the time I have been saying we need a Patriot Act. We need a Ministry of Internal Security. We need to hit them before they hit us. And we may not be lucky all the time. And I compliment all the security agencies, including J&K police, for doing a fantastic job. If they were not active, we would have lost so many of lives. And we need the elephant in the room, which we are avoiding altogether in this Delhi blast, is ricin. Ricin is tasteless, odorless, smellless. And once you do the attack, there is nothing you can do to overturn it. It has no antidote. It can kill lakhs of people. If we are talking of bio-jihad now, we are talking of white-collar jihad now, we are talking of doctor jihadis now. So the jihadis have graduated from a Burhan Mani to a doctor now. Is this the Naya Kashmir we are looking at? Is it the real development of Kashmir really paying the dividends, or have we made those dangerous hybrid monsters which can penetrate the society and kill? If this is a doctor with the AK-47, now if you go to hospital, how do you know what will inject you? What do you know how will be put in a vial of glucose or something? We are looking at a very dangerous jihad, and we have to go and dismantle Pakistan, and this Al-Falah cannot go away saying we don't know anything. Everything connects to them. Why all these nefarious elements are there? I would request the Honorable, Raksha Mantriji, Gray Mantriji and the Chief Minister of Haryana that this place should be, in my opinion, bulldozed. You have to bring this down. and you have to cordon off all the area. This is a complete ecosystem of jihad which was working against India. And same guys, Kashmiri Muslims, even a doctor, Kashmiri Muslim will exactly do the same what a pattharbaz will do. Unpad ho to patharbazi karoge, pad lik gaye to bambaz banoge. That is what the difference is. I mean,
Okay.
I will be candid here because it's a question of national security and question of millions of lives.
Let
We
me,
don't
yeah,
decide.
let me also rope in General Katoch into this conversation. General Katoch, the government has officially designated this as a terrorist attack, but of course, there's lot to be done in terms of figuring out who else has been involved. At the center of it is this university, the Al Falah University. At the center of it are a few people who are educated. They do not fit and match the profile of a classic terror suspect. What does that tell you? And how is this also a bit of a game changer in the way we look at terrorism?
Thank you, Vineet. Vineet, like my co-panelists, I totally agree. What has happened is unacceptable, and very, very serious introspection and action is required. Now, specifically to your question, I think terrorism always mutates. What has happened in Jammu and Kashmir is that over a period of time, a very large number of the networks have been neutralized, and we know who those actors are. Now they have shifted gear. They have gone into a different plane, right? And they have started using their sleeper cells. I presume they were sleeper cells. It is not something that this doctor has suddenly become a jihadi. He would have been there for years, but he was simply lying low. So they will use different means. This time they've used doctors. They could use professors. They could use any of those the people whom nobody will actually suspect. But getting on to a few specifics, one. In some of the, I have heard some of the analysts say that this was an intelligence failure. I would like to say very openly in your channel, this has been one of the greatest intelligence successes. They have done it outstandingly well, because after, you see, okay, one chap got away, and I don't think in my view, this fellow who got away and blasted the car, I don't think he was intending to blast the car. He was simply intending to get away. He was taking the cover of darkness and he moved out, and for some reason, the ammonium nitrate, that we really don't know. I presume more clarity will come, but for some reason it exploded and killed him. But the plot was much deeper. The plot wasn't one attack. There would have been at least 30 or 40 or maybe 50 attacks, seeing the quantum of explosives which were there. And I feel Sumit P has very, he's given his assessment that it was likely to take place on January, just prior to the Republic Day. I don't think so. It was time for December. And it was time specifically, in my view, for December, because President Putin is coming here. And imagine the optics, the Soviet president, the Russian president coming here, right? 5th December has got its own connotation. And that is the time they carry out this, huge, hideous attacks. Where does it put India? It is a classic regime change operation discrediting the government of India. That's the way I look at it. So there has to be consequences. Sumit P talked about bulldozing that hospital. I'm forgetting that name, Al Falah. The question is not that you have to bulldoze that hospital. The question is every single person in that hospital is a co-conspirator. Every single one of them. Their staff, their sweepers, their clerks, every single person. Their antecedents have to be gone into. You've got to go very deep into every single person, into their financial records, into the telephone records, into everything. The links are there. That was the headquarters. And everybody they have been conversing with or in conversation with across the country, we've got to get them as co-conspirators also. This thing goes very deep. And the last point I want to give, it's a white-collar crime, but it's really not really a white-collar crime. Anybody can get radicalized. I think the tragedy of today's society is that the intellectual Muslim has lost the capacity to stand up to the mullah. Here is a third-rate, uneducated mullah who's controlling the narrative. How have we allowed that to happen? How have the educated Muslims allowed themselves to get into that position by which an uneducated mullah is actually controlling the narrative? A great deal of introspection is required within the Muslim community of India. Where are they going? And I think as far as our own agencies are concerned, they've done a marvelous job. And I'm absolutely certain they will continue to do so. And this entire nefarious activity which has happened, we will get down to the bottom of it and take everybody down. But one thing, only thing which I want to caution about, please don't start thinking, this chap, he's not really innocent. I mean, he's really innocent. He just happened to be there. Nobody happens to be there. There are no coincidences. The family members knew what is happening. They will profess innocence now. Every single family member knew. Every single person in Al Falah University knew. They all know. And we have to actually start with that premise that they know, and it is up to them to prove that they are innocent. We have to reverse the situation now. Vineet.
All right, fair enough. Valid point, sir. Let's also listen in to what Mr. Sahai has to say. Mr. Sahai, the agencies have done a great job, and General Katoch is absolutely right. With the kind of ammunition and the kind of load that has also been discovered a few days prior to this terrorist attack, it definitely seems to be a new MO, but the same old people who want to inflict this kind of harm to our country.
There is absolutely no new MO, and as far as the white collar people doing it, it has been the engineers and the technologists who have been running the whole terror show across the globe for last decades and decades and decades. Now, in the fitness of things, the whosoever are the handlers, they gave it a thought and they felt that the medical practitioners would be a better camouflage than engineers, and that is how the whole thing has switched over to where it has switched. If you are talking about whatever happened from the end of October till it is a continuous process starting from Jammu and Kashmir police to Faridabad, and this whole series of incidents and the investigative developments which has been going on, unraveling the plot and piecing various pieces together into a coordinated investigative material or body of evidence which we have been trying to do. You take it a step further. This radicalized, where is the issue? Issue is, there are two things which should be very, very clear, or primarily three things which have to be very, very clear about. One is radicalization and the nature of terrorism. Second is intelligence. And third is the other enforcement, investigative and other agencies. So the radicalization process is pretty well known. It is well known since, I think, decades together. And it is happening at a fast pace, and it is also happening in variety of ways. The lone wolves phase, so that is over. Now it is a very integrated thing where it is the whole of social media, and there are also foot soldiers on the ground. The Maulvi, he is there on the ground, and together they are radicalizing, and they have been able to spread their wings, literally at least half of the country, if not to the other parts of the country. So this has not happened in a day, as the other panelist was also talking about. It has not happened. It has taken days and days. Even in the Pahalgam incident, it did not happen in a day. All the movement and all that we have missed out. There's absolutely no doubt about it. So this radicalization process went on, and 2,900 kgs of explosive material, 350 kgs of ammonium nitrate. I think 2,750 kgs was what was required to kill 200 people and 6,500 people getting injured in the Beirut explosion, which was the accidental one. So this radicalization went on, and it went on unabated. We were always feeling that, okay, we have basically gained control of the whole situation, and that lull period has been utilized to create this sort of a terrorist infra inside a camouflage sort of a scenario, and running very successfully. It was only because of that poster or posters that this whole thing came into existence, and then we started working on it, and post then we have done a commendable job, and it is a very integrated sort of a multi-agency work which has been going on, and we have reached where we have reached. The point is that the investigation has to move in an expeditious manner so as to finally give an opinion that this is the investigation which is done, this is what the whole plot was, and there was nothing more and nothing less. But the keeping our guard low again on the radicalization thing.
All right.
So that will bring us to a knot.
All right, sir. Point taken, sir. Point taken, sir. Sumit, you wanted to make a quick point? Hurry up, please. 30 seconds.
The terrorist
Right.
attack.
Sumit, you wanted to make a quick point? We have to wrap up now.
So
Sumit.
it is finally an act of war.
We need, the thing is very simple. It all has one common connection. It goes to Southern Kashmir. It again, there was a professor who was a terrorist. Name was Afzal Guru. There's a doctor who was a terrorist. Name is Umar. And there was a headmaster's son who was a terrorist. Name is Burhan Wani. There was an MSc mathematics who was a dreaded terrorist. Name is Riaz Bhatt or Riaz Naiku. So if we look at this, understand where is the breeding ground where the terrorists are coming from. That is southern Kashmir. Again, you have to know how to handle it and how to tackle it. The sympathies for Pakistan and Islamic terror are very high there. Things have not changed a lot on the ground. If you can make a doctor a Fidain, then God save a lot of us.
All right, fair enough. On that note, we are going to dip into a short break. Appreciate everybody who joined in and weighed in. We'll be right back.